I think. Hello and welcome.
Hey, that kind of worked.
Episode of the StreamYard. Nope. Dang it. The Patreon show.
Bam.
Season 2, episode 6.
Episode 6, quarterly show live on the YouTube for everyone to enjoy.
Oh wait, let me make sure there's it's public.
Okay. We are live. So this is kind of abrupt because we just did one for our Patreon supporters, which was our monthly one, but we were behind a week and a half or so when we put that out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, didn't we just do one of these?
Yeah.
The answer is yes, we did. But that was for our Patreon supporters. Quarterlies for now, we're still doing for everyone to enjoy on the YouTube. So you guys see some of the content that you guys get exclusively with Patreon normally. And we have our big quarterly giveaways as well as our monthly giveaways that we do on these shows. So you guys get to see some of the cool stuff that you are eligible to win for being a Patreon supporter.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got a big guest coming our way down the pipeline as we've been teasing for the last couple of days. One of the real pioneers of disc golf media.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody's going to deny that. Mr. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, will be joining us.
Or as in one of his videos, Terry Miller and the disc golf guy.
And the disc golf guy, that's right. I want to ask him about that because I always want to say Terry, the disc golf guy Miller, or the disc golf guy, Terry Miller. But he always says Terry Miller, the disc golf guy in his videos.
He doesn't get to say.
Like, is there a right way or a...
Yeah, he doesn't get to dictate how his name and moniker. He just he'll respond to anything. So I mean,
T-Dog, Terry Mills,
T-Dog, the disc golf Miller.
There you go. So one of the things we wanted to touch on real quick to lead off the show. Earlier on, a little while ago, I did a quick Instagram post on our stories about us getting ready to ramp up. We've got a big schedule coming up soon, starting with the Magic City Mega Bowl, really in just a couple of weeks, and then followed by PDGA Worlds. We've then got the Clash Canyons right after that, and then the Des Moines Challenge following the week after that. And then we come back home to Georgia to then cover the battle at Boomtown. So we are going through a crazy busy stretch. And one of the things that we're looking at right now on our YouTube channel, we are at 8,700 subscribers, a little over that. And it's been a while since we've done a subscriber-based giveaway, but we really want to get to that magical 10K number. So all you guys watching, most of you that watch this show are already subscribed, but maybe you know people that don't know about Ace Run Productions. And you get a chance to spread the word. But we are going to be giving away some goodies, at least these 2 items. We might sweeten the pot some more. We'll see how it goes. But we've got a Paige Pierce signed hats that we got from her.
Wait, something about Paige?
Paige Pierce. I don't know if you heard of her. She's a 5-time world champion.
I mean, you're supposed to hold that with like white gloves or something, man. You're not supposed to put your grimy little mitts all over that. You're decreasing the value as you breathe on it. You're decreasing the value.
I've been breathing away the whole time. I'm wearing my COVID mask. And then I figure, hey, let's keep with the theme here since we're going to be covering FPO Chase at Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the 2 biggest contenders, obviously, the 2 most likely are powerhouses. What's like the shore betting lines or whatever? If you were betting in Vegas, would be Paige Pierce and Katrina Allen. So we've got a Katrina Allen signed disc as well that will be given away as we continue our march towards 10,000. So when we get to 10K, we will go ahead and select 2 winners, one for the disc, one for the hat, and give those out as a thank you for getting us to 10,000. We might do something along the way, like at 9K to kind of keep the momentum going, but We really want to get to 10K. We'd like to get there by Worlds. That'd be awesome to show up and be at 10K. But that's up to you guys to help us get there. So we'll be putting out more information about that. But basically, all you really have to do is just be a subscriber to qualify. Make sure on your settings that your subscriptions are visible. Otherwise, we cannot see if you're a subscriber. Yeah, and if we can't see you, you can't win because we don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Or how to contact you or where to send it to. And then it just gets returned in the mail back to us, and then we win. So make sure that's on the up and up. Let's see. What else we got going on? We've got the Portland Open coming up this week.
We don't, but
the Disc Golf Pro Tour does.
Yeah. That
event is replacing the canceled Beaver State Fling, which that's 2 years in a row now with no Milo MacGyver. And it's funny, if you go on YouTube and you follow some of the pages like Adam Hammis and Ezra Aderholt, they're out there doing practice rounds at Milo just for fun and filming them because it's such an awesome venue. That's one that's definitely.
We should do that. I think we should just go out to Milo and just film a challenge round.
That's on my list, man. I really want to get out to Milo. We were toying with the idea of getting out there this year for Milo, but obviously that's not going to happen now. But it's weird to see the Disc Golf Pro Tour kind of had to scramble to try to recover that event and make something happen for the pros to be able to play something this week.
Yeah.
And there's been some controversy on Instagram and Twitter about pros kind of upset that they're not getting Milo, so it hurts that you're losing that iconic course. But they're on another ball golf course, and there's the gripe about, oh, well, it's just another ball golf course. It's just more hyzers and more long bombers and all that stuff. I don't know that you don't want to put blame on the Pro Tour. Like, you're scrambling to recover an event that's at an iconic venue.
Yeah, I mean, what other course can you say, okay, we're not going to do Milo, we're going to do this one that's just like it, but not. I mean, it's not an event.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I mean, they're doing the best they can to recover. I get it. I mean, you look forward to a specific venue every year, and it's not there for 2 years in a row. And then you get replaced with something that's not quite that. But, you're still playing this weekend. You still got a chance out there to compete and win and do the best that you can. So I know Terry had put out something about it on his own feed earlier today about people needing to simmer down about all the vitriol about this course. But I know it's a Dustin Keegan design course, and again, it was kind of last minute, but I'll be interested to see how that course, how it visually looks during coverage, and how it actually plays and what type of challenge it presents to the pros this weekend. And I get it, dude, because that's funny. I didn't even think about this. The Sandy Creek Sling is one of my favorite events, and I love Sandy Creek Park, and this is the second year in a row that there's no Sandy Creek Sling. That's like my little MacGyver.
You only like that course for one reason.
2 reasons.
Okay, 2 reasons. One is your. I gotta say, I guess I'm a little jealous. I don't have all the aces that I do have. None of them are in tournament play. So.
Tournament ace.
You're the tournament ace.
Tournament ace, and my first win. First sanctioned tour win, and I still got the tournament ace.
MA4.
MA4. It was intermediate. Ace hole number, it was hole number 16.
It still is on a certain layout, isn't it?
I think so. With this Mako 3 and the G-Star plastic.
Why you don't throw at this anymore, man?
Because the ace. It's funny, I don't have a disc that replaced it. Like, I just took it out of the bag, and I was like, I don't need that shot anymore.
It's a perfect shot. I don't need it.
Exactly. In all honesty, if I didn't hit chains, I was dead to rights on that hole because I was going to blow past it by like 60 feet, and it drops down. Like the chains just got in the way. They did their job. Exactly. But yeah, I definitely missed that event. Dang
It's odd for me this year. I'm not playing as many as tournaments. Like I guess because we're filming so much that I'm not playing in as many tournaments, or either the tournaments that I want to play in, or we could. They sold out so fast that we couldn't. Um,
Yeah.
but I guess I'm okay with it for now. It's just a little. When I look back, I mean, ever since the first year, I've been playing 18, 17 events, sanctioned events a year,
Mhm.
and I don't think I'm nowhere near that pace right now.
Neither one of us are. I mean, I just played the 2-round C tier at Lula, which was anytime Lula has an event, I try to get out there to play in it. And then I don't have anything else on the books until Battle at Boomtown, which is in July.
Yeah, well, I mean, because we're going to be out. I mean, if we can get into a flex start somewhere, we can. But other than that, I mean, we don't have anything that we can have the time to sign up for.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm not.
Is this talking about stuff? So green lights are a go for the Mothers Racing Sons Charity Disc Golf Classic.
Yeah.
This will be held at Little Mulberry on day one. And day two will be at a never before played, never before seen Collins Hills ball golf course. I'm going to make it a disc golf course.
Oh, another ball golf course.
Oh, why? But yeah, I'm excited just because of the holes. I mean, this is 2 years in the making of me, designing holes and then getting feedback from players and a course designer to redesign some holes and to think about things that as a disc golfer you don't really necessarily think about.
Yeah,
that's something that we can talk to Terry about. Let me write that down.
Yeah, write that down. I know when we were looking at the design, the original design, when we went out, we were driving around with a cart, the basket attached to it. We'd set up the hole and then we go play it.
Mm-hmm.
There's one hole. I was like, I think we might kill somebody on this fairway on one of the holes. Like if you throw an errant shot, like I'm just thinking, like me was like an 880 rated player at that time. I was like, I could definitely kill somebody over here on my left. Like if we don't.
Yeah, there's a few holes that I definitely, after talking to what's his name?
Ryan.
After talking with Ryan, he's like, yeah, if you put this hole there, all the discs are going to land up in that person's yard. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, everyone throws a hyzer, even though this isn't a hyzer shot, it's going to hyzer out and it's going to go over there. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I lost my boss doing that exact same thing. So everyone else is doing that same shot, so we had to redesign that hole.
There you go.
But for the ball golf course, the idea is to have 18 regular holes. One of them being a quarter mile, 1,350 feet, par 5. Not downhill. It's actually technically it's uphill from start to end. So it is parable.
Mm-hmm.
It's buriable.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time, both me and Felix, when we tested out the design, we were able to have a look at a birdie.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good look, but I mean it was a look. And for us at that time, it makes it feasible for any other player to really have a look at par.
Yeah.
And then to put in a final 9 that will encompass the other part of the course. I don't think we'll have the daylight to run 27 holes. Well, we won't have the daylight or the baskets to run 27 holes.
Yeah.
So the final 9 will be some of the original holes, but more of the back part of the golf course with some new holes in there. And I'm looking forward to just being out there and being able to do that, man. I'm excited right now.
Exactly.
I got to go out there and drone it so I can raise some awareness and some hype. I don't know when I'm going to do that. I wanted to do it before we left for out of town, but I keep getting these stupid things.
Tight. Yeah, we're still getting tight on that. We're still trying to piece together some extra content while we're here before we leave with a couple people. So
yeah,
we'll see what we can get done. So it is 9 o'clock. You want to check in and see if Terry is in our
Digital green
Digital
room.
green room. Oh wait,
No, I guess we can't. We'll call it our infinite disc. Digital
digital green
green room.
room.
There we
Sure,
go.
that works.
Yeah, there you go. That'll work. I think he is there. He
Okay.
is ready. Do you want to introduce the man, the myth, the legend, Terry Miller?
There he is.
Hello, hello. Mic check. How we doing tonight, guys?
Doing great, man. You sound way better than us. This is not good.
There's something to be said when you you get into a Shure SM7 or something like that, or MV7, and sometimes these do sound really good. I love using them. That's for sure.
Yeah,
How you guys doing tonight?
We're doing well, buddy. A little bit of a change of pace for you being on this side of the microphone, so to say.
Yeah, just a little bit. I did do just a quick voiceover a few minutes ago for the Disc Golf Pro Tour. For when we cut to commercial, I had to do a quick voiceover. But yeah, being on this side overall is a little bit different.
So one of the things we needed to immediately address is it Terry Miller, the disc golf guy? Is it Terry, the disc golf guy Miller? Is it the disc golf guy, Terry Miller? Like, what is the correct moniker?
Is it the disc golf guy and Terry Miller? Is there two personas?
There was for quite some time, which I miss those days. If you go back actually quite a few years, Facebook at one point, I started my original Facebook. And then when I became also the disc golf guy in 2010, I thought I'm going to have a Facebook for just like personal life, and then I'm gonna have a Facebook for disc golf life. And then so I actually created DG Guy or the disc golf guy, and then the Terry Miller account. And for many years I would have them talk back and forth to one another, and it really confused a lot of people. And then eventually Facebook cracked down on names and identities, and now they both say Terry Miller. So I guess I go by Terry Miller. I don't know, my PDGA says Terry the disc golf guy Miller.
It does.
And I also go by Terry Miller, the disc golf guy. So whatever. I've been called worse, I'm sure, whatever it might be.
Every time I've noticed it, it's been Terry Miller, the disc golf guy. So I kind of just stick to that, I guess, being the correct order.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I still get a hard time from some people that say, wait a minute, why do you just get to claim that? Shouldn't that be like Steady Ed Hedrick or Ken Climo? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, they were also disc golf guys and the godfathers and the pioneers and ambassadors and inventors of the sport. And they certainly had all the rightful time and name to claim those as well. And I don't know, I guess I just claimed it. So here we are.
First to was it like when I was in banking? First to the bank wins.
Apparently,
a shared account. So you've I talked about it in the opening while we were kind of ramping up here. That I mean, essentially, you and Johnny V have been doing this for a very long time. But you guys are really the pioneers. I know Disc Golf Planet was doing a lot of live stuff back in the day. But you guys have taken it to another level. I mean, can you touch on how long you've been doing it, and how long you've been out there filming and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, excuse me. Disc Golf Planet was well before us. I mean, we are friends with those guys, Terry Roddy, Rich Dobson, and John Duzler. It was really John was kind of the originator, and then he expanded and had Terry as a partner, Terry Roddy, and so. Gosh, I don't remember what year that was, but whenever it was, I was on board. Basically, John had asked if I wanted to have any part of it. I said, absolutely, anything I can do to help. And that led to me coming in and being a co-commentator and really just filling whatever role that they needed. And then it was very quickly after that Johnny V also got involved in a little bit more of a technical standpoint. He wore a couple different hats at that point as well, but he was a little bit more on the technical, almost like an advisory type position. Yeah. And we were really essentially volunteers. I mean, we would go to these events and help out. And I think back to like 2010 is when I started my channel. We were already, working with Disc Golf Planet at that point and helping out wherever we could. And so I was kind of wearing two hats. I would do the live thing, and then I'd run out and grab a little B-roll and do some interviews for my channel as well. And then as things kind of progressed, it was around 2013 when Johnny V and I said, hey, there's other ways they could skin this cat, for lack of a better term, or build a better mousetrap. And we started exploring some of those ideas, and Disc Golf Planet was trying to grow and had brought in more people. And but there was a lot of things that were really expensive, just because it was a totally different landscape at the time. And that's right about when YouTube was just allowing certain channels to go live and to stream stream live for free. Because before that, most of the streaming services would charge you to have a live stream. So if you wanted to go live and you went from 500 to 501 viewers, like, you paid a premium, and to go to 900 or 1,000 to 1,001, you paid a different tier, and you actually had to pay because of how many people were watching. And YouTube kind of flipped that on its head and said, hey, you can stream through us for free. And so that was a huge game changer, and something we jumped on instantly, as opposed to using a different platform or service like Disc Golf Pro Tour, or I'm sorry, Disc Golf Planet was using. They used 2 or 3 different platforms that they were paying for all of them. And then YouTube said, hey, come do this for free. And so that was 2014 is really when we got our start with it. And then by the end of the year, after we had done a handful or a half dozen live events, exhibitions and tournaments and tournament rounds, it was at that point we said, hey, let's do something in the off season as well. And then that's what started the podcast. And 352 shows later, that's still running as well.
Must be doing something right to be keeping it going that long, right?
Either that, or we're just gluttons for punishment. We just keep doing it, whether you're doing it right or not. And I mean, I guess in all seriousness, there's a little bit of a lesson there of, you guys have been grinding as well. Like, all you can do is keep grinding, and hopefully something pans out. And if you're doing it because you love it, hopefully it doesn't feel miserable, but there's an element of just grinding things out when you're doing it. That's for sure.
Yeah. We talk about it. We've talked about it in the past about just how there's no reason why we should be where we are. We have no business being here, but we just kept asking and knocking on doors and saying, hey, we'd like to try this. Would you guys be willing to work with us on that? And it amazes me that this sport allows the flexibility for people to try things, like, and the accessibility of not only just the PDGA and the Pro Tour, but the players themselves to take chances and work with people that are starting up. Like, it's unlike any other sport. You can't go up to a Major League Baseball team and say, hey, we want to come around with some cameras and see what kind of footage we can get and document stuff like that. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, and that kind of goes hand in hand with like a wild west mentality that we've had, in that disc golf media wasn't a thing 10 years ago. I mean, there was a Worlds DVD, there was, this and that were ultimately produced, but you got 5 or 10 pieces of content a year. Billy Crump had then started working into his DVD, his Clash series, which were still just that. They were filmed and then released weeks or months later on DVD. And we've just been kind of forging a path from day one, or blazing a path, whatever you want to say. And we've seen a lot of different iterations, people that put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that have come along, and some have maintained and stuck with it. And some have stepped aside and said, this isn't for me. This isn't a real life business venture or a career move. And I don't blame them, because you have to give a lot of sacrifices to stick through it all.
It's truly a grind. It's not, I think the perks from what we do are far and few between. We probably get more perks via personal gratification and the relationships we build than anything else.
Yeah. I mean, again, none of us are in this for money. I think that I would think that's pretty obvious, because of the little money that's here. None of us have been in this for money. It is a little amusing to me when someone says, hey man, I just bought a camera. How much should I start charging? And it's like, I don't know. I went like 4 years just losing money And thankfully that's not the case as much anymore, but I got to tell you, it's not as easy as just showing up with a camera and thinking, you're going to start profiting tomorrow. There's so much more to it. And again, you guys know as well as anyone what the struggle is real, as the kids still say, I think.
Oh yeah. We spent plenty of time in the red trying to sniff what it looks like to be in the black, but
yeah. And even then you're still not getting rich, and that's fine. Everyone has to realize what our media teams are doing pretty much is out of passion and love and the bigger picture. Yeah. And then from there, you hope that, sure, if you come out in the black, or if you can turn it into a good either side gig or possibly a low-level full-time job, great. But you have to have, your heart's got to be in the right place first.
Yeah. There's plenty of times where we get to an event, we're like, oh, this is not, we're going to lose a little bit on this one, or it's not quite going to be what we thought it was. We're just happy that we're not at the point where we're hemorrhaging money at every event.
Yeah.
Yep.
At this point.
We actually have some type of cushion, right? Before, when we went out, we were like, hey, you got your credit card on you? Because it's like that's the only way that we were doing from point A to point B.
Right.
But now we actually have some type of cushion in the business bank account. So we're doing something right.
Very, very little cushion, but
no, and that's what, again, that's all part of it. And anyone will tell you, disc golf media is not exclusive to the idea of running on a shoestring budget and getting things going. Any small business that's getting off the ground, probably, if they're not operating, they should operate that way, and then grow into things from there. But there's no shortcuts is really the long and short of that. There are no shortcuts to doing it. So
I wanted to kind of go back in the Wayback Machine with you. You've been a player. You've been to a bunch of big events. I know you had that Twitter war a little while ago where somebody's like, why are you the disc golf guy? You've never won any events or played anything. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about some of your more memorable wins as a player?
Yeah. I think one of my favorite places, which is not a popular opinion, but one of my favorite places ever to play, is actually at Colebrook Park in Michigan. It's technically in Climax, Michigan, which is like a suburb, you would say, of Kalamazoo. Okay. And the Worlds have been played there multiple times. So Colebrook Park is incredibly short and tight and wooded and a lot of accuracy based. And that's just one of my favorite places to play. I've had a lot of success there, and even as an advanced player and then into playing professionally. I took down that event in the dead of winter, I think 2 or 3 times possibly. It's usually held like in the first week of February. And so I have won at that park at probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6 times in my life. And so I think I've pulled probably more money out of there than anywhere. You can camp on site if you want to, but it's just a really good, fun technical course. That was huge. I would say, of course, everybody remembers their first pro win. I won an event, a tiny event in Wisconsin, which was kind of tiny at the time, but I beat a couple of really significant players and Wisconsin professionals. And so that one, of course, sticks out. The payout was minor, but just taking your first big win, or your first win, really. It's maybe no surprise that anytime most of the events I've been successful at, if I've pulled in a win, more often than not, are on a more technical, shorter course. Okay. I've never thrown incredibly far, but accuracy has been kind of my strong suit. A little bit of putting, but mostly accuracy. And so, almost every win has come in that style. I might have 18 or 20 pro wins, and again, they vary from really small C tiers, and then I think I got an A tier when I turned 40 at that same Colebrook Park, although it was a really small field. But
yeah,
I think I kind of answered that. Short technical courses. And then I have one in particular, an unsanctioned event. It was an ice bowl style event that I played for 24 consecutive years. And about halfway through those 24 years, me and my partner, Mike, took that down, and that by like today's standards would be at least an A tier caliber win. If there was a doubles A tier, it would be at least that. I mean, some of the best come to play in that event, and it's always in the dead of winter as well. And taking that down in a doubles format was really special as well. So that's on top of the list somewhere for sure. I think I might even have that trophy.
I'm looking at your list here. Your list of 27 PDA sanctioned wins.
Wow.
So it's a little bit more than you than you said.
Yeah, again, there's probably a handful of those were advanced or intermediate level. So yeah, so there's probably about 20-ish of those were professional wins, if I had to guess, dating back to 2000.
Okay. Well, I have your first win as an intermediate player in 2016 at the Fox Valley Open.
Yeah, which is my home course. That's where I grew up. That's funny. I didn't even remember winning that in intermediate or advanced.
It's intermediate.
Dang. Okay.
And that was a bagger.
Yeah. So I was a junior or senior in high school at that point, and then lo and behold, 2 years later, 1 or 2 years or 3 years later, I was running that tournament. Oh, wow. And then I took it over and ran it for like 15 years. So, but yeah, that's where I grew up. That's where I first started playing. Same with Johnny V. That's right in the backyard of Appleton, and so those were my home courses.
So, is that win any more significant than your first win in Open at the Tundra Tourney?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and as I could tell you, I don't even remember that one. I mean, I guess it's funny to think that way, but I don't remember that amateur win. Mm-hmm. I remember 1 or 2 of my other advanced wins, but not so much that first one. So definitely the Tundra Tourney. That's what I was talking about. Relatively small field. You know, at the time, Aaron Wild was, the best competitor there and one of the best in the world.
He was about at the time.
Yeah, he in 99 he finished 7th in the world as a teenager. And so to beat him, him and Barry Schultz were the 2 biggest names in Wisconsin. And so to beat Aaron at the time was a little bit of an accomplishment in itself. So yeah, that I remember winning that event more so than anything. Yeah.
And I say that was a 4-stroke lead that you had there that you won by. So and it looked like you were comfortable the round 1 and round 2. Like he wasn't like nipping at your
heels.
Yeah.
No, and it's funny because I remember distinctly saying Aaron, who again was the best player really around. I remember he was getting frustrated. I'm like, oh man, don't worry, you got that pot. Like I remember trying to pump him up during the round. Meanwhile, trying to contain myself of thinking, hey, I'm beating this guy. Yeah. This is great. He was kind of getting a little frustrated or whiny, and I just remember thinking, that's funny. I'm telling him to get it together. But I also enjoyed beating him. So I do remember that vividly.
So let me dive into your bag here.
Oh geez.
Yeah. You're probably not playing nearly as much these days.
No.
As with all the stuff you've got going on. But looking into your bag, what's the oldest disc in your bag right now?
Funny, I went and played last week a little short course I used to run league on, and I pulled out a couple of Ontario rocks. Ooh. And I started in the 90s. The Ontario Rock was kind of the disc at the time, or one of the new ones, and I always had an affinity for them. Those and Comets, which coincidentally fly very similar. Mm-hmm. And I've got an Ontario Rock that's in my bag that I don't think I got it. I don't think I was the first person to have it. I know I wasn't. But it's definitely from either 94 or 95. Okay. And then I have a second one. The first one's pink and is incredibly, understable. Mm. And then I have a second one also that I collected years later and picked up, and that's a 95 Ontario Rock, and that happens to have a Milwaukee stamp on it where I live now. Okay. And so those 2 are easily the 2 oldest discs in my bag, and I was literally just throwing them last night as well. They're a couple of staples in my bag.
That's for in my head. That's brave of you to still throw those discs because if anything happens, you know there's no.
Well, it's Terry Miller. He's probably got 30 more backups.
Oh, true. Yeah, he probably has some in the storage unit somewhere. The storage unit number 1. You know.
Right. Yeah. Coincidentally, those are the one disc I actually collect. Like really, I mean, I acquire and hold on to others, but the original Ontario is the one disc I actually seek out. So if anyone's watching or listening, mid 90s Ontarios, I got to get that plug in there. I don't care about the 2005s and 6s and 7s when they re-release them. Only original 90s. So I started going after them, and they were the least favorite on rock that Innova has made in many years. They made the San Marino, and then they switched the mold to Ontario, and then around 97 or so, they switched the mold to Rancho, which were much flatter, much more stable, and a little bit faster. And everybody gravitated to those. So like the 3 or 4 years in the middle, it seems as if most people hated the Ontarios. Well, I like them. And so collecting and acquiring them throughout the years has actually been a little bit easier than a lot of other discs because they just weren't sought after. And so because I threw them and because I really enjoyed them, I thought I'd kind of start going after them. I'm hoping I'm in the neighborhood of 300 plus of them, but I still need more. So if you, I'll never throw 299 of them, but yes, if one went down, I would definitely be saddened. But I could always use more.
I need my wife to hear that you have 300 on one disc.
Right.
So that, you know, I was talking yesterday. I'm like, I got 30 pures and I have 30 rocks.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, I'm good. But you times 10. I mean, I know you've been collecting since, I guess, 95 since you started. But I mean, wow, that's just. Whew.
Yeah. Now, again, I may literally, I mean, if I'm 42 now, there's a good chance I may only use 10 more the rest of my life. So I realize a lot of those will never get touched. So I'm starting to get a little bit more picky about, the overall condition and if I have that stamp or not. I'm starting to get a little bit more picky, but I also don't mind if they're a little bit beat up and it might go right into the bag. I'll take a look. Just send me your pictures, and I'll offer something to trade or to buy it from you.
We all have that mold. Like obviously,
exactly.
Conrad's the pure. I'm the EMAC Truth. Like anybody that offers me EMAC Truth, I'm like, let me see what you have. Like I have 17 in the garage. It doesn't matter. Let me see what you have.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's just.
And you may only throw 3 more, for the next 10 years, but
this pure is just. It's not in good condition whatsoever. But I got it from somebody.
Is there another name on it? I didn't see it. Where'd you get it?
It's a pure.
But
no, there's no name or anything. It's like the most. It's like the most chewed on that I have. Yeah. I mean, there's a dent in it right here. It's just beat the crap. But someone said, "Hey, you interested in this pure?" I'm like, "Yes." I don't think there's a pure that I've turned down.
And those are still made though? Those are in regular production?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the Jesper Lundmark ones aren't anymore.
Yeah, no.
Okay. There. So those are a little harder to come by.
Yeah.
But if one of the big questions we got, and I'm sure you get this all the time, is if you had to put a number on what you think your overall discount is, ballpark wise, how many do you think you actually have?
The number is only slightly skewed for the fact that I also have a running inventory, a small running inventory, whether that's 12 or 1400 that I would like actively sell on, heartbeat's notice. If you showed up or I was out vending at a park, there's that many that I don't care about. They're not special.
Yeah.
But if I had to combine those 1,000 with the rest, I mean, maybe 10 ish, 10,000, maybe.
That's
8.
Insane. That's crazy.
9, 10, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Wow. That
Yeah.
That would drive me crazy because I constantly go through and organize my disc.
Well,
So, like,
you would need a month at my
yeah,
place.
probably more.
Yeah.
So, do you have
I
them
keep them
organized?
in disarray on purpose.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, they're taken care of,
Yeah.
and they're in good, good storage containers and such. But I
Mhm.
purposely keep a little bit of chaos and disarray for now. At some point, they're all going to get cataloged and inventoried in a perfect way. But
Yeah.
I kind of like the disarray, because if I randomly stick my hand into a bin from 8 years ago, it's like, oh, this could be a first run boss or a first run destroyer, or there might be a beat up AVR that's in there from when I played, or whatever the case might be. Like, I love the
mystery,
the mystique of it. And spoiler alert, that may turn into a short YouTube series of mine of like, hey, here's a box. Let's randomly go through what 30 are there.
Yeah, Ace Run exclusive on that one.
Yeah, I've definitely talked about doing that. Just to show kind of what's in there. And a lot of them have a story behind them. If it's in Ontario, there's a chance I remember where I acquired it from. Maybe I don't, maybe I do.
Yeah.
Or if I've got a first run destroyer with a custom stamp on it, I know, hey, oh yeah, I got that at the World Championships, or I got that from here or there. I mean, of course, I don't have a story for every disc, but it's kind of scary how many I probably do have a story for out of all of those.
There's always a history, even though you may not immediately remember it.
Correct.
So if you do the series, you should call it What's in the Box. And you should obviously get Brad Pitt to do a voiceover at some point.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll just go. Usually, I do if I do need to talk to him, I go right. Actually, I go through Jennifer to get to him. But so I'm that won't be a problem.
Wow,
her and I are tight.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I wanted to touch on a little while back. You had episode 227 of Smashbox TV. How close were you to actually getting Jack Hay on the show for that?
Honestly, I feel like a little bit more work, and we could have probably had an appearance from her. I was digging into her socials, and it seems like it wouldn't have been crazy to get her within our price range, probably. And of course, that being a throwback, if you were of a certain age and knew that sitcom. But maybe we'll have to find some way to get someone like her involved at some point again. I like the idea.
I don't think we have any shows with that number. I'm trying to think if there's any other shows with numbers like that.
Yeah, and the ones they have to be increasing at this point. I mean, we're up to podcast 352.
Yeah.
So you're right. We'd have to find. There's got to be something out there.
Well, you've got to do something with
there's the 4100. I think there's a TV show, the 4100. So I mean, we got something to shoot for.
There you go. Or what is it, the 2700 Club, or whatever that religious the 2100 Club, or whatever it is. I don't know.
Here we go. We got something to shoot for.
Yeah. Well, you're almost at episode 360, so you got to start thinking about what can you do with a circle, or coming full circle, or something like that.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, Perfect Putt 360. They should be sponsoring that one, right? I mean, there's a no-brainer.
Exactly.
There used to be 365 Disc Golf. That's a guy in Wisconsin. He used to run 365 Disc Golf and had a podcast at one point too, I think. So, maybe it's time to hit him up as well. I don't know. We could extract that money from somebody.
Exactly. So I wanted to touch a little bit more on the media side of stuff. Can you remember the first tournament that you guys covered in terms of media?
Well, the first live one we covered was, without a doubt, the Sylmar Open. Okay. That was April of 2014, and we had the likes of like AJ Risley on a camera, and I was doing some broadcast, or I was doing some commentary. That was the first, and that was all thanks to Legacy. We say that time and time again, and we'll never not say that. That was all due to Legacy supporting us for that event. What they had done is they footed an at the time an insane bill of like $5,000 for us to use a live view backpack or whatever the price was, somewhere in that neighborhood. And we rented a unit for an entire month. And we then did 4 live broadcasts in a 5-week period. And we were just trying to get our feet wet. And we're like, well, we've got this thing. Let's learn how to do this. And it was so rough and terrible and trying and frustrating. And, you know, it was just a different world. But we just jumped in head first. And so Silmar Open we did. And then also, I think the next week was it that we went to the Rumble. And we did that one live, which is still an A-tier event. And then a couple weeks after that, we went to the Bowling Green AMs and did the Final 9 live, which had myself and Jamie Thomas and Avery Jenkins and Simon Lizotte all involved with the production.
Yeah.
And then I think a week after that, we did the Minnesota Amateur Championships, which is an event that's still taking place. So we did 4 live tournaments in 5 weekends to extract as much as we could out of having that really expensive rented backpack.
Yeah.
And that's when things really started. And I remember thinking, like, Disc Golf Planet went live like 4 or 5 times the whole year. And here we went live 4 times in 5 weeks because we were just so anxious to try and hone it in. In terms of the disc golf guy coverage, some of the first things I ever did on my own would have been 2010. I started the channel in January of 2010. And then the first couple, they're still out there that I think have less than 1,000 views. All these years later, were me like in this very room, my office, talking about like the Katana that just came out and the new Clash DVD that just came out, and just promoting new and talking about new products that just came out. And then it was a couple of weeks later when we went to the Memorial to work with Disc Golf Planet, and that's when I was like, well, maybe I should do interviews with those guys. I'll get a little footage and then do an interview. And the vlog in that capacity, it was born at that point. And it just ran from there. So 2010 would have been the first time. I mean, me and Johnny and others recorded and took pictures of tournaments back in the 90s when we were in college, but it was never like in any serious capacity. It's like, oh, hey, we're on spring break. You know, oh, I borrowed the school's camera. Here, let me take some, terrible footage of somebody throwing. That would, I don't really count any of that.
Okay.
I mean, those were college. We were all trying different things in college. So yeah, there it is. Look at that. That's I just saw that is my first ever video blog in 2010. That backdrop was literally inches behind where I'm sitting right now. That was a backdrop that I had made up. I was running an online registration service called iregisteredonline.com, IRO. And I was the disc golf scene before disc golf scene existed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That, like, in all seriousness, I was hosting tournament registrations mainly for Wisconsin. I think I did it for the Memorial one year though. Yeah, I used to host an online registration service, but I had no programming skills. And so I very quickly got lapsed and passed by and then never really took it serious from there. But I ran an online registration service for quite a few years. It does have 2,000 views now. Man, I'm a baller. 2 dislikes. Oh, there's a Japan Open Katana that just released.
Yeah.
That's still in the bin somewhere. That's in the collection.
That is crazy.
So yeah.
Even back then you had haters. You had 2 dislikes.
They've only grown.
It's amazing. Like, we'll put out a video and within like 45 seconds, 1 dislike. We're like, who is it? Who is doing it? It's every video.
Just a dislike.
Right.
Yeah. Who's got It's funny because it shouldn't bother any of us, but you do wonder, like, what's wrong in your heart? Like, what's wrong with you as a person that you get such enjoyment out of going out and instantly disliking something you clearly haven't even had time to watch.
Right.
But you're going to dislike it because you just like to be a turd. I mean, for lack of a better phrase.
Like
I
you
don't
have
get
no
it.
idea. Like we literally had, I don't know, 6 hours of sleep over 4 days at DDO.
Mm-hmm.
And like towards the end, we were delirious. We're putting out stuff, and I was like, "All right, just get this one out." It's 5:30 in the morning.
Yep.
I've got to sleep in the car because we've got to go cover a pro-am event in 2 hours.
Yep.
And then we put out the video, and it's like dislike. You're like, "You son of a!" Like at that point, like, who is it? How do I track this person?
Yep. Yep. I've always I thought of this recently that I think it would be really cool, and they'll never do it, but it would be really cool that in order to dislike a video that you would have to write in a reason. And people would like, just put in garble or whatever.
Yeah.
But I wish there was a little bit of a check on YouTube where it's like, you're about to dislike this video. Do you really want to dislike it? And then if so, why? And then you have to put in a reason. And some of them can be legit. And some of them are really stupid. Some people are like, "Oh, really? I hate that commentator." And it's like, okay, well, is that a good reason? Or, oh, well, it didn't feature so and so, and I really like them. Well, okay, should you be doing it for that reason either? Like, that's why I'd love to, force somebody to give a reason, even though we'll never get it.
Well, I think the only ones that you'll actually get any constructive reasoning from, they already put it in a post. They'll post and say, "Hey, the audio wasn't this, that, and the other," or whatever.
Right.
True.
If those are the only ones that you're really going to get some constructive feedback from. If it's somebody, the 45-second dislike guy, he's not going to tell you anything that you need to know. He's just
being that guy.
Yeah, he's just that guy.
Or that girl. Come on, let's not be sexist. There's female. No, but you're right. And all sexism included, I'll say it's probably guys. I mean, let's face it. Guys like to be jerks more than women.
And we welcome, like, when we actually do, like, I know they say, like, don't read the comments, all that stuff. Well, we'll go through, and if there's something that makes sense and we go to the comments, we're like, yeah, he's right. We timed that commercial break improperly, or, hey, we could have gone to that transition a little smoother, or the audio didn't pop quite as well. That's stuff that we actively try to work. Like, every time we put out a video, we're trying to get better and make the product, stand out. Yeah. And we do welcome actual genuine constructive criticism or feedback on that. Just not the dislike.
I can't second that enough. It's hey, instead of saying like, "Oh, you're fat and this sucks," like, cool, thanks. Why don't you instead tell me like, "Oh, the channel was or the audio was low in my left ear," or hey, your graphics are bleeding off the screen, or whatever legitimate feedback you have. Yeah. We all want to hear that because that's something you can grow on. But just being like, "Dude, you suck." Okay, thanks. Like, that just doesn't do us any good.
Yeah, that we know, but how do we not suck?
Yeah, like help me help you, Jerry Maguire style.
I can't wait.
Look at that! As you're digging through the archives, there's a Nico. I guess it partially gives it away there with the title, but quick guess to anyone that can tell me what hole that's at that we filmed that.
Oh,
it's at the USDGC. It's in the title, so I'll spoil that much.
Hole 3.
But any guesses? Conrad, you got any guesses? As we're
I'm thinking of the whole numbers. Yeah, I want to say, was that 2?
That would be a good guess. Felix, you nailed it. Hole 3. We're down at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
On hole 3, the downhill 390.
Yeah.
That's where we're standing when we do that. We do that interview.
Nice. I figured as much. I was like, it looks like that's the OB on the right, or where you don't want to be, and then you got a little bit more on the left. It's got to be hole 3.
Yep. Man.
You still have that shirt with the little logo there?
I do. That's funny. I was just thinking that. I'm thinking that's in my closet as we speak. What is that? What year is that from?
2010.
Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah. First year. Duh. 57. Yeah. I think I do still actually have that specific one. That's for anyone that's ever seen that logo. If you're watching on the video, that's my Lifetime Disc Sports logo. So back in 2003 or 2001, I had become an LLC. I was just got done with college. I was at a full-time job, but I also was running, 6 to 10 to 15 tournaments a year. I was designing courses, I was running leagues. And so in order to become a vendor of all the manufacturers, I, of course, had to be a legitimate business. And I was doing trade shows and clubs and all sorts of things like that. And so working with clubs and clubbing, I guess. But anyway, so my company name was Lifetime Disc Sports, and that was just kind of like I always called it my swoosh logo, but it was just a kind of an abstract logo. And so anyone that's confused by seeing that or wondering where or what that is, that's my original company that to this day is kind of the parent company of everything I do. Huh. So if somebody sends me something on PayPal or has to write me a check, technically you write it to Lifetime Disc Sports, because that's my original company. So a little history no one asked for.
There you go.
Harry, I'm going to have a blast because you just have so much stuff.
Yeah,
you have so much stuff.
Look at that. There's a young Paul Macbeth in year number 2 of my vlogging, and guys, I didn't know what B-roll was. I didn't know what an external microphone was like. And I started my vlog channel with a $99 camera that didn't even have a external microphone on it. And then I graduated from there, and then graduated again and again and again. But it was literally every cell phone today is nicer than what I started with. Honestly, they're all nicer. I mean, that thing had a max definition of 720 when I started, and no good microphone. And so there we are at me and Macbeth at Vista del Camino. Wow, I put up his name even. Wow. Yeah, those are.
Oh, there you go, some B-roll.
Yeah, there is by then. By year 2, I think I learned what B-roll was.
Okay.
So.
That is smooth.
Pretty funny. To this day, Mo over on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, he'll occasionally say, "Hey, I was watching vlog 109. It had you interviewed, Paul Macbeth after winning his first NT or whatever." And sure enough, I mean, that's a little bit of an archive, history book that goes way back, because there was coverage that was slowly coming out, but I did a lot of the interviews back then, and I guess still today. So there's a lot of probably really funny or even cringy comments or interviews from way back in those days.
So I wanted to ask, when we were on Smashbox, you asked us about any moments or anything like that when you're filming. Anything that you can remember, any moment you're like, oh, I didn't hit record, or I didn't have the mic running, or anything like that?
I'll start with one of the most recent, so it's easy. Just a few months ago, I was covering the Throw Down the Mountain, which I've been to quite a few years in Florida, and at one point I saw something on my little audio. I don't know if attenuator is the word, but on the little audio graph, and I'm just standing there watching putts, but I'm seeing the audio jump all over the place. I'm like, well, that's weird. And I kind of smacked my microphone, and it kind of stopped. And fast forward to the end of the day, and I go to pull all of the one of the FPO's rounds of footage, and sure enough, there was some kind of interference or static that was there 60% of the holes. And it was painful. It was 100% painful to try and listen to it. And that was infuriating, because you don't want to mute all the audio, of course, the on-course. And it was like a hum and a screech and a static, and it had everything. And I think I finally threw away the cable that I think is what caused it. And so there was one of those moments. There's no doubt about it, that because that made editing literally 2 or 3 times as long. I was taking chunks of audio from other times where women were driving or doing other things, and I was inserting it over the different spots.
Yeah.
So if they had a clean drive on hole 11 and there was no really distinguishable noises while they were all driving on 11, I might have had to actually take that, copy that exact audio, and go feed it over on the drives of hole 14, just so there was some noise, but it wasn't. Yeah, it was miserable. And I think, you know, that could have been avoided had I either been wearing headphones the whole time, or just noticed maybe, you know, the audio levels going back and forth. So sound check, people, constant sound check would be a good one. That comes to mind. That's just most recent. I screw up all the time. I probably have a whole list somewhere.
There's talk about microphones. One of our most favorite is we forget to turn the microphones on.
Like at all, huh?
It happened at Vintage Open. He had his mic on. I'm the player cam, and he's a catch. And on hole 1 for the first 3 drives, the only audio you're going to hear is from his cam that I just dubbed into mine because I didn't have my mic on. And you figure year 3, by now we've got the checklist. We know what we're doing.
We got a routine that we follow to do.
Nope.
No, it's you know, and it's funny because there's a lot of pressure these days. You know, you could have recorded an eagle and 2 aces in the first 3 holes and not had audio.
Yeah.
And obviously very unlikely, but I'm just saying that could have happened.
Yeah.
And you know, no matter what you do, people will, the only thing they'll harp on is how you didn't have audio.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, you know, for an honest mistake, you know, clearly you're not trying to make that mistake, but yeah, unfortunately, I mean, we're still humans at the end of the day. And, you know, as much as we're there to capture these moments and do the best we can to put everybody in the best light, that's all you can hope for, is at some point there's a redundancy that gets built in and you have some strategy. But if you're a 1 or a 2-man show, sometimes things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's all. There's not much you can do about it.
I mean, it does bring up for me a fond memory of back the Hall of Fame Classic in 2019. I think it was when we first physically met you.
Okay.
And we were covering the Legends cards, and we were using this horrendous microphone that was too close to the rocker. And every time I zoomed in, all you hear is And we were talking to you. We were getting ready to cover one of the cards. I don't think it was when we were doing the MPO chase, but you offered to give us one of your microphones. Like, we had just met you. We'd seen you on Smash, and we're like, wow, he's like legitimately a genuine human being. Like, that's really awesome. And from like that just left such an impression on me, you know, meeting you for the first time and your willingness to wanting to help out a media crew that was out there that you just met. Really spoke volumes about the type of person that you are. And just for me, I wanted to say thank you for that, and just thank you for everything that you've done to grow this game and this sport, and just continuing to sacrifice and fly out to these different cities and do everything that you do. I know a lot of people will take it for granted, but us being on this side, we understand the type of level of sacrifice that takes. Yeah. So from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you for everything that you've done and continue to do for this sport.
I appreciate that. That's very kind of you guys, and super, super glad to help where I can. You know, as we said, we've been kind of we're all still forging or blazing this path, and there has not been a blueprint. It's getting easier, but I know exactly where you guys were and you're coming from, and still what you're trying to do, and what we're all trying to do in our own ways. And I've also learned that when you're out there in the thick of things, it is easier if we work together. Now, we might not be, you know, necessarily editing each other's footage, but at the end of the day, like, you guys are eventually going to need a battery, or I'm going to need a battery, or I'm going to forget a cord, and you guys could, you know, and you guys need a cord, and vice versa. And I feel like, we're all kind of in the trenches ultimately together, even if we have different labels or different brands or different icons on our screens. We all are going to need some help, because no matter how good your production is, no matter how good your crew and staff is, somebody's going to need a hand at some point or another. Yeah. And I feel like that just makes things a little better when we're out there, or a lot better. So I
kind of feel like it's indicative of just the disc golf community. You know, like, you're on a course and someone says, you know, I don't have a mini. You're
sure.
you're giving a mini away. You're giving a disc away just because someone is in need. So I feel like our little media conglomerate that we have, yeah, it's just an extension of the disc golf community and how the community shares. I can imagine. I haven't seen one recently, but if someone posted that they had their bag stolen, within 24 hours, the community has built them another bag. Right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just the same way. That's the same feeling I get from the media. There hasn't been a time that I ran into anyone, even when we met Jonathan Gomez for the first time. Like he has no idea who we are or that we exist, but he was just genuinely a nice guy and just interacted us as equals, even though we were very much not. But
Sure. Yeah, I agree, and good. I'm glad that I hope that rings true to a lot of people out there, just in general. That's the community that disc golf has been about. Now, granted, if I'm lending you a mini or a disc, I may have just rubbed it in poison ivy, and I'm going to lend it to you first. But I'll no. But in all seriousness, yeah, that you're exactly right. You nailed it on the head. That's part of the Frisbee family that I talk of all the time. That's part of us all getting along. And again, maybe some of that grassroots level that we're at, I think helps that. I think that keeps us humble and grounded. We're not all, oh, hey, my Lamborghini broke down and oh, too bad, while you're staying at your 5-star resort. Like we're not all, I mean, we're in the trenches, and this isn't a poor me, sob story, but we all understand each other's struggles. And then us on the media crew, we also can relate and see what is happening on the pro side, of our top level athletes. They go through a lot of similar, scenarios as well. So I think that's why even our media and our athletes can be quite cohesive, is because we're all coming from a very similar place.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
So.
All right, we don't want to hold you too long, Terry. We're coming up on an hour, but I had two kind of fun questions that I wanted to ask.
All right.
So you've traveled pretty much everywhere in the world at this point, covering this sport.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a specific country or state or course that you look forward to the most every year going to?
Man, this is definitely tougher now than it was, say, 3 or 4 years ago. I've been so spoiled. I mean, you've got Australia representing out on the board right now. Luke Turnbull, is on the board. He, it was because of him I had my first ever trip to Australia. So I mean, I think now I'm obligated to say Australia because he's watching.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I owe Luke and their crew so much, because the opportunity to go to Australia and then New Zealand as a result of it, just so blessed. I've enjoyed every international trip I've been on, which has only now been probably 4 or 5 countries. But I think Luke will agree. As much as I want to get back to Australia, and I'd go in a heartbeat, going to Thailand is such a unique experience, because you're on an island. Not that I guess not that all of Australia is not, but going to the island in Thailand that we go to, Koh Samui, and the environment and the atmosphere and the culture that I've taken in there has been so incredible. And it's funny that course isn't long or challenging or world class.
Yeah.
It's that, but none of that matters. You're there. You're getting a slushy, so to speak, or a daiquiri or whatever. You can have lunch right there. And everybody's just so there's monkeys running around taking coconuts down. I mean, how but then I compare that with, driving through Norway and seeing fjords and, these massive mountains and all this water, and that's incredible. So right now I'm going to have to go with the default, which would be Thailand. But man, if a country can challenge that, I'm up for the challenge, because that place has certainly been incredible. Croatia's a lot of fun for different reasons, but it's also a great place to be. And so, yeah, Thailand's the answer though, for now.
All right. Well, I'm excited because I follow a couple people on Facebook, and I see the progress that they're making in terms of putting in courses in Puerto Rico, which is where my home country.
Okay.
So I cannot wait until they put courses in Puerto Rico, so that I'll have even more of a reason to ditch my family when I go visit them in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I look forward to that as well. Selfishly, I think, oh man, I want to go even further away than that. But I mean, somebody wanted to drag me into Puerto Rico. I'm not going to complain either.
Right. All right. And then the last fun one I have might require a little bit of thinking, but if it wasn't disc golf that you're doing for your livelihood and everything, what would Terry Miller be doing? That's
hilarious because I had this conversation with my 12-year-old today. I'm guessing, and this came as a result of getting involved with disc golf when I was a teenager. So because by the time I was 19 or so, I was running my first sanctioned tournaments back in the 90s. I'm assuming I would be involved with either a sport or activity that's probably not mainstream, and if we're using today's examples, whether that's a bags or a cornhole or a spike ball, something. I'm guessing it would be a non-mainstream sport, and I would likely be a promoter and or event director within that scope or sport. Maybe not fully marketing, maybe. I don't know. I didn't get a marketing degree, but somewhere I feel like I'd be a promoter and do a lot of similar things, but probably with a medium to smaller size sport or activity.
Okay.
And so like event directing and tournament directing and event organizing, those are all kind of things. I love trade shows. I love that kind of interaction. So I feel like I'd be doing something in that maybe I'd be a big spike ball promoter or something. I don't know, but it would probably be something in that realm of promoting and organizing events for some other sport or activity.
Okay. Just it doesn't have the same ring to it like Terry Miller, the spike ball guy, or Terry Miller, the bocce ball guy.
The spiked hair guy. I don't know.
Pickleball guy.
The pickleball.
I was introduced to pickleball in 2005. I'd get down with some pickleball. I do enjoy that. So
I changed his name.
Well, we've changed your title officially. If you look on your screen now, you'll see it says the pickleball guy.
Yeah, perfect. That seems
that could work.
Real quick side note to that. When I was introducing the disc golf into the Wisconsin Senior Olympics in like 2005, I was then introduced to another guy named Dave who was telling me about pickleball. So I'm selling him on disc golf. He's selling me on pickleball.
Yeah.
And we crossed over. We both, took to each other's for a while. And so I was introduced to it way back then. And you're right. I could very well have been the pickleball guy all those years back.
There you go. Number one cricket promoter in the U.S. There you go.
Yeah, cricket. Once I went to Australia and I kind of sort of still don't know all the rules, I was like, oh yeah, let me promote this cricket thing because they love their cricket over there. That's for sure. Well, the rest of the world does.
Yeah, I have friends that are Jamaican and they live and die for it. And I got to watch some of I haven't watched cricket in years, but I remember Brett Lee was big in Australia and some of the players, but that's a fun sport to watch. I thought it would be like baseball. I played baseball in high school and college, and it is absolutely nothing like trying to hit a baseball.
Yeah, I still know about one 1/100th of the rules is what I think I understand. Yeah. But that doesn't mean I won't yell and scream when I'm in a bar in Australia. So That's all you need to worry about.
Right. All right, Terry.
Nope, I'm trying to get rid of Terry. I got questions for Terry.
Okay.
So my questions are simple, I think, anyway. It has to do about you and your course design. You've talked about the number of courses that you have designed. What are you looking for when you are designing a course? As far as I know, it has to be what the property presents in itself, but is there a certain theme or mindset that you go into when you're making or designing a new course?
Yeah, I mean, I always feel like there's three main components that I'll kind of keep quick. Number one always has to be safety. I mean, just period. It has to be safety. You can never design a course for any skill level, and if safety is not the number one concern. Number two, I feel like this kind of goes hand in hand with the safety, but you have to remember the scope of the project. So if I've done 35 courses, I bet you 20 of them are on school type properties or in little neighborhood parks. And, the criticism is, well, this isn't challenging. Well, it's not meant for you. It's meant for the family that's never played before. It's meant for, this to be a resource for kids for their gym class or their physical education class. Yeah. So safety, again, can then lean a little bit into the scope of the overall scope and purpose of the course. And then the third thing, I was always taught by a mentor and a great guy here in Wisconsin. Like, for me, it was always about finding the obvious greens and then almost working backwards from those. You see a spot, like, and you guys to this day, we all do it. You're standing, whether it's in the woods or in a park, and you're just standing somewhere and you're looking around, and you might see a fairway, you might see a tee, but you always recognize a green. Yeah. And what do you say? This would be a great place for a basket, right? Yeah. And so that was just kind of a hint, I guess, of something he had already always instilled in me, which was, look for the obvious greens, and then hopefully, there's a way to play to it and then connect to the next hole. But that was a big takeaway for me, was the greens. And in Wisconsin, we're blessed. I mean, we have hills, we have steep and small hills. We've got lots of trees. We have lakes, streams, ponds, rivers. We have everything here. So in that sense, if the course or the property presents the things you want, then hopefully you're golden and good to go from there. So in that sense, if the course or the
that was weird. Sorry.
All good.
Getting feedback.
Thank you for the feedback, Felix.
Yeah, no problem. I just wanted to make sure we all heard Terry, so I let it play.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And of all the courses, how many courses have you designed? Do you know the number?
I don't. It's somewhere between 30 and 40. Okay. Again, I mean, and some I've been more active with than others. Sometimes someone will say, hey, I've got this property. Do you want to come double check it with me? I don't necessarily count that as one I've designed, clearly. And then there's some that, I almost went 50-50 in with that same gentleman, Tom, or someone else, where we went out there and we kind of did it together. It's probably over 30, but less than 40 if I really had to sit down and count them all.
And do you have a favorite? Is there one that you're like, that's your baby course, it's your fondest?
Yeah, probably the one where I was vending this last weekend. Mm-hmm. It's called Gray Fox. It's probably the most well-received one I've ever done. Again, incredible piece of property was really shown to me. And then I feel like we did a lot of what we could with it. And then that actually led to them saying, hey, we've got another property 3 miles away. Let's go use that too. And that one actually is even just as revered, if not more. But I would say, the Gray Fox, which is just over the Illinois-Wisconsin border. So a lot of people that live in northern Illinois, or maybe just kind of dip into the state, like if they go find that course, I'm really proud of the way that it plays and that people really enjoy both of those.
So is one Gray Fox, is the other one Red Fox? Or?
Yeah, so there's Gray Fox. None of this was my fault. There's Gray Fox. Then I helped redesign Red Fox, which is 9 more holes. So there's 18 and then 9. And then the new park down the road, the newer one of them, they called Silver Fox. And that's got 18 holes as well. So Red Fox, Gray Fox, and Silver Fox.
Okay.
Wow.
Uh-huh. You gonna come play?
Yeah, we'd love to. We haven't been to Wisconsin yet for anything. We need a reason to go out there.
I actually thought this was an open invite. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, come on down. Come on up, I should say. Next year, over in Madison, Wisconsin, which is about an hour and a half from those courses, is where the U.S. Women's will take place, and the USWDGC, and then also, Am Worlds was in Madison a couple years ago, and then I also was the tournament director of Am Worlds in Milwaukee in 2007. So Wisconsin's got some good history. We hosted Pro Worlds in 2007 in northern Wisconsin. We also hosted Am Worlds in 1998. So Wisconsin's we've had some big events here.
I definitely want to play Sandy Point. Every time I see that on video, it looks amazing. So that's definitely want to look it up.
Yeah, don't rub it in. That's where the big tournament's happening this weekend up there, and I'm not able to participate because I'll be working with the Pro Tour.
No, we know the struggle.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Any other questions you had, comrade, before we let Terry get in all the plugs?
No.
All right. Well, Terry, we'll give you a couple minutes. Anybody you want to plug or anything you got going on that you want to talk about? The floor is yours, my friend.
Well, of course, first and foremost, I got to thank you guys. I know we've kind of touched on it a few times, but I understand the grind, the struggle, the tenacity, everything that you guys put in every single day when you're out filming, and then to go and double down by being up all night. Like I know it all too well. And, the whole world should hopefully love and appreciate the effort you guys are putting in, because we're all trying to do our best. And I know you guys are part of that. So keep at it. I love seeing that. As for myself, I just appreciate everyone following along. Whether that's Twitter or Instagram or my YouTube channel, all can be found at the Disc Golf Guy. So appreciate that. And of course, what I do with Johnny V, my best friend over at Smashbox TV. Hopefully people get a little bit of amusement or entertainment out of that on Tuesday nights for our Tuesday night podcast on Smashbox TV. The only other plug I would give is just that I do offer up a box that is great for shipping your discs, and that is called My Disc in a Box. It's something that I developed after seeing what it was like to ship discs around. Yes, you guys have some. You guys ship some out as well. It's just specifically designated for 1, 2, or 3 disc shipping. It can be folded in different sizes. I know it sounds crazy, like, oh, whoopee, you made a cardboard box, but these really secure your disc, but then also save you money when you're shipping them. And the best part about the cardboard, as opposed to just a bubble wrapped envelope or bubble mailer, is of course that you can recycle these. So I love seeing it and getting one that's got 9 different sets of tape on it, meaning that disc that box has been cycled all around the country, hopefully, as people continue to recycle them. So of course, if you need boxes and bags because you're shipping valuables or you're shipping out discs to people, I sell those as well. But that's just kind of on the side. So with that, thank you guys. That's all I can say. I'm really humbled and honored. Like you said, I'm not often on this side of the interview spectrum, so I appreciate you guys letting me ramble on for a little while, go down memory lane and then some. But just keep grinding, and I'm always looking forward to sharing stories with you guys whenever I see you out on the road.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate it. Don't know if we'll run into you at Worlds. We don't know if you're traveling out to Utah or if you're going to be at the home base. But
yeah, I will be out there.
Okay.
I will be one of the guys on the ground at the World Championships this year. So I'll see you guys there. And then I'm sure as things slowly move east throughout the year, as the year goes on, I'm assuming I'm going to run into you in some places, and I'm sure we'll have some NADGT overlap and all that other stuff. You guys are killing it out there. So again, just can't say enough. If there's ever anything I can do to help in any capacity, don't ever hesitate to reach out to me.
We appreciate that, Terry. Thanks so much, man. Thank you for taking the time out. And we appreciate you coming on, and we'll see you, I'm sure, on Tuesday nights like we always do. And we have to say also that obviously we do a lot of driving, and the fact that you have the audacity to have like a 4-hour podcast is great for those long drives. It keeps us entertained.
Good. Well, if it's over 4 hours, then just put the speed to like 75%, and then you get us even longer. I mean, you're welcome. Pro tip. Huh?
There's something we need to tell you. There's something.
Don't tell me you speed it up to 150%.
No, we do the opposite. We don't know if you've noticed this, but if we slow you down to half speed, we call it drunk Terry. It sounds like you've had 40 beers when you slow it down to half speed.
Well, to be fair, I think if you slow anybody down to half speed, they probably sound that way. I think that's a Kimmel skit.
Than the guests that you have on and JVD when we slow you down. It is just You get cramps in the car from laughing so hard.
Something about your cadence and your timing and pace at half speed just sounds like perfect drunk voice. So,
so good.
Well, then I think that's great, guys. I really appreciate what you're saying. Thank you. I'm gonna have another beer.
But yeah, please keep up what you're doing. Obviously, we love it. We think the world of what you and JVD do, and we appreciate you guys. Continues just hammer it out week over week. We love the podcast. We love everything you guys are doing. We're subscribed, obviously, to all your stuff.
Yeah, so. And of course, thank you guys for the contributions, the clips that we get from you guys. We really appreciate that. Love to spread the love and share it around and have everyone get a little bit more exposure. So we're super happy and thankful for you guys doing that for us. We appreciate it.
Awesome. All right, Terry. Well, for real this time, we will go ahead and let you hit on down the road, buddy.
All right. Have a good night. I'll keep talking forever if you let me. Good night. Kick me off. Click a button. Sign me out.
There you go. I totally forgot about the whole drunk Terry thing at half speed. And as soon as he mentioned, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, wait a minute. This is it's so fun too. It's like I want to do it right now just to hear it, but
that is funny. So big thank you to Terry Miller, obviously. And thank you to everybody on the board. Thanks for interacting and chatting. We've got Smashbox on there, Luke Turnbull all the way from Australia.
What time is it in Australia?
I don't know. Australia clock. I don't know. Jim Bacchus.
Whatever 10 o'clock is upside down. Isn't that right?
So 1 in the morning. I don't know. That was awesome. So we've got obviously it's our quarterly Patreon show. If you don't know, if you sign up to be a patron supporter on patreon.com/AceRunPro, we've got a couple different support levels that get you entered into giveaways on a monthly and a quarterly basis. On a month like June, obviously, since it's a quarterly and a monthly, we do 2 giveaways. So we're going to do our monthly giveaway as well as our quarterly giveaway. So in order to qualify, you simply have to be a Patreon at the $5 level to qualify for the monthly giveaway. At the $10 level qualifies for both the monthly and the quarterly giveaway. And we have had an instance where someone has won both the monthly and the quarterly giveaway on the same month, Sean Medina. So that does definitely happen. So thank you to everybody that's supporting us on patreon.com/AceRunPro. Additionally, you get the extra content. Month over month, you get early access to a lot of content. We've got a couple things on there now, like Ezra Robinson's practice round. You got early access to the Rebecca Cox practice round. A lot of our one disc, one tip segments are on there way ahead of time before they're viewed on Smashbox. So a lot of cool extra perks for being a Patreon supporter. And for as little as $3 a month, you get early access to all that stuff and the additional perks. So I'll go ahead and show you guys what we've got going on for the monthly end of the theme going on for the monthly giveaway. So we've got a 168 star Shrike, nice and flat, with a little bit of a middle to high parting line. So this one might stand up a little bit better to some torque. And we've got an Innova Koozie to go along with that for our monthly giveaway. Still got the sticker on it, so you can tell it's legitimately new. And then we were just talking about the NA with Terry, oddly enough. And last month we gave away a Corvette, which was a next gen one. So that was one of our older ones. This week or this month for our quarterly giveaway, we've got a whole NADGT theme going. So we've got an F Model S in the Glow Duraflex plastic. And the quarterly giveaways are always a little bit bigger. So quarterly giveaways are always at least 2 discs. And we've got this beautiful looking 400 plastic H4, 176 grams, also NADGT bottom stamped. This thing is nice and flat with a low parting line. It's going to bomb, and it feels fantastic in that 400 plastic. I almost don't want to give that one away. And then we've got the Buzz with the NADGT, not the
Macro.
Macro. I was going to say, not the minis, the Macros.
Yep.
And these things are fun to throw, man. You can
They
really
are.
get them
Hey,
out
like
there.
I wanna legit have a event because I was throwing them today. I was throwing the Buzz,
Yeah.
the Judge, and my Thrasher, I believe I have. And I can legit play a full round with those 3 discs. And like the macros will stay in the baskets.
Yeah.
The minis won't stay in the regulation baskets, but the macros will.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. I remember Matt Dollar runs a tournament or ran one. I don't think he ran it last year because of COVID. But the Flying Disc Festival that he does at Lula, I know he used to do regular round, and then you had side games, and he would do the minis. And one year he did the macros also. And I signed up for all that side action. It was so much fun.
Wait, was the macros was that part of the Mario Kart, the Mario thing?
He had another thing for Mario Kart too, and then he had like the ultimate, the lids challenge where it was a partner. You had to stand inside a circle kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I loved playing the macro. Like that was so much fun throwing across the water with those discs. But yeah, the macros are if you haven't had a chance to try one, get you some macros and go out and have some fun in the park, and you'll be amazed at how far they actually fly.
Yeah, really. You'll be like, wait, I just threw this better than I threw my regular disc.
Right. They're like, what am I doing wrong? Something's wrong.
All right.
And then while we're pulling that up, I just wanted to reiterate again. We opened the show talking about that we're getting ready for this big stretch of events that we're going to, including Worlds. So we wanted to do a countdown to 10K, 1,700 and change in subscribers on our YouTube channel, and we wanted to get to 10,000. So along the way, we're going to be giving away some prizes. We've got a Paige Pierce signed hat by the 5-time champion herself.
What?
And sticking with the World's theme, since we all know the top 2 contenders, well, we'll see if Kristen Tatar has to say about it, and Haley King. But we've also got a signed disc from Miss Katrina Allen as well that will be given away when we get to 10,000 subscribers. We'd love to get to that number before we get to Worlds, but whenever we get to it, regardless, we're going to give these items away just for being a subscriber. And again, we wanted to just reiterate to make sure that that your settings are set so that you can actually be visible when you subscribe to a channel so that we can actually see you and select you as a winner. So tell your friends, get signed up, get subscribed to A-Storm Production. Helps us out immensely, and we love doing giveaways like this along the way to kind of help get us there. So
there's a question on the board for you real quick.
Yeah. It was first half mini, second half macro. Was it
you?
No, I didn't hit somebody. It was. I remember that happening. It wasn't me. I don't ever have the arm anytime, unless it's Conrad and I'm throwing a forehand at him.
Every time.
But yes, I remember somebody getting hit with a macro, but it was not me, and you can't prove that it was me at all. So thanks, Jeff. But yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, that's what it was. It was first half minis and second half macros. And I still have the macros that I used for that. I think I added a fourth too, but yes, I have a macro Tesla. There's a macro Tesla that bombs. I love that thing.
It doesn't bomb further than my Thrasher.
Yeah. Thrasher, yeah.
My Thrasher gets out there. All right. So which giveaway are we doing?
We'll start with the monthly. So that is again the Innova Koozie and the Innova Star Shrike at 168 grams.
And who is eligible?
Anybody that's $5 or above.
Okay.
Which is quite a bit now. It keeps growing.
I'm gonna take the $3 guys out.
I finally got my PDGA renewal. I got my dog tag. I got to add it to the to my other dog tags. I got my membership. Oh wait, am I supposed to cover my number like Brody Smith? Where you kidding, Brody? We love you, buddy. Brody was throwing putters 400 something feet, man.
I do that too.
Yeah, okay. Not downhill.
Not downhill.
Yeah, not downhill.
All right. So I have the Patreons. Wait, let me do it this way.
Okay.
The patronizers. I have them. Let me delete that because that'll get confusing. All right, I have them organized. We have 11 that are eligible.
Wow. That's awesome. All right. Let's see. We're at season 2, so let's do the second number. There we are.
On the screen.
There we are right there. Now we're on widescreen. There it is.
All right. So minimum 1, maximum is 11. We're going to do the second.
Number generated.
Eight
First one is
first.
8. Okay. Second one
was meant to be.
There you go.
All right. So 8 is. I mean, this dude wins too much. Ryan Trotter.
Hey, there you go, Ryan. Did Ryan win the last giveaway?
He's won recently. I don't know if it was the last one. He's won within the last 2 months.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the last one because the last one was a new name.
So, yeah.
Sweet. Well, congratulations, Ryan. You are getting this Star Shrike along with this upside down Shrike, along with this Innova koozie coming your way. We will reach out to you shortly to get all that sent out to you, and we'll send it in Terry Miller's disc in a box.
There you go.
Those things really are awesome. I'm down to like my last 40 out of the 100.
And Terry said recycle. What he really means is reuse them, not throw them in a recycle bin.
Right.
Reuse them. Send this to someone else in those boxes.
I kept the one. He sent the Patreon disc for being a Patreon supporter to Smashbox, and I kept the box. I'm going to reuse it. Thing's awesome. All right, then we've got the quarterly giveaway.
We got the quarterly giveaway.
Which, again, one 400 plastic H4 V2, I'm sure, with an NADGT bottom stamp. F Model S in the Glow Duraflex plastic, which, again, NADGT stamps. And one NADGT stamped Macro Buzz, I think. Pretty sure it's a Buzz.
It's a Buzz.
It's a Buzz. There you go. I don't know how many numbers to generate for that.
Well, I think we only have 4 that are eligible.
Okay. So we'll do 4.
All right.
All right, here we go. First number.
First number is 4.
Second number.
It's 3.
This better not be 2-1. Come on now. This is not rigged.
Okay, back to 3.
Okay. Number 3 it is. I was like, it's just a count. Do you have it on countdown mode? All right. Number 3 it is.
Ryan Trotter.
We just talked about it's possible for you to win both the monthly and the quarterly.
This is the benefit you have for being a pro ace runner or higher, because you get the double dip.
Double dip. Well, there you go, Ryan. That makes it much easier for me to just do one box. I don't think this is all going to fit in the. Well, we'll try them. In one of Terry's boxes.
How many discs is that? That's 4 or 3?
That's 3 discs, 1 macro, and a koozie.
We'll make it work. We can make it work.
Yeah, I don't want to smush anything, but congratulations, Ryan Trotter. You've got more plastic coming your way, courtesy of Ace Run Productions. Sweet.
I need to get on this list.
That's too funny, man. I'm gonna sign up myself and be a patron. I won again. That's amazing. So that's twice now, both. So now Sean Medina and Ryan Trotter both had the double dip grand prize. Awesome to see. That all fits in my disc in the box, assuming they're all drivers. They are all drivers. So there you go. Terry says it'll fit. It pays to Patreon. Yeah, no kidding. Oh yeah, because if I put the mini in between, that's so gonna fit.
Oh yeah.
I just put the koozie there. Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. Sweet. All right, so Ryan, we'll go ahead and reach out to you this week. Depending on how fast you get back to us, we can get this in the mail for you as early as Saturday to get that out to you. But thank you so much for the support. Thank you to all of our Patreon supporters for the continued support. If you didn't win this month, don't worry. There's another giveaway next month. So as long as you're $5 and above, Ryan could possibly win ban him from winning ever again. I know we put a hold on Sean for like 2 months because he won like 3 consecutive giveaways. We're like, well, maybe we should think about mixing things up here. But yeah, congratulations, Ryan. Thank you to everybody for the Patreon support month over month. It may not seem like a ton, but that helps us immensely when we're needing to get gas or needing to get coffee at 3 o'clock in the morning because we're barely awake trying to get footage out. All that stuff definitely helps. So very, very thankful. Other than that, man, I didn't have anything else on deck. This was our big quarterly show. We had Terry carry the load for us, thankfully. That's why it always pays to book a charismatic guest that just continues to talk, because we can just sit back and let them tell stories. Makes our job a lot easier.
It's definitely a plus when you get someone that has a lot of stories.
Yeah.
And that are noteworthy. Like, I have some stories to tell that no one wants to hear. I know I do. And there's a lot of stories that I have totally forgotten. I don't have the memory like Terry and Germ and who else that I was either watching or listening to, and I was just in awe of their ability to recall something, right?
Yeah.
And with so much detail, like I don't remember the person. If you ask me right now, say, Conrad, I'll give you $100 if you name one of the 4 people that were on the card that you last played. That's $100 I'm not getting. I can't remember.
I can do it.
Math. Well, you played this weekend. That don't count.
It was just last weekend, yeah, and I was in a playoff with one of them, so it sticks out.
But no, today it was the day I was at work. They had a third-party vendor come and help me, and she texted me. Her name was Mo, and so at first I thought it was going to be some guy, and then she saw up. I'm like, oh, Mo. No lie. 45 minutes later, I said, I don't see a name tag. What's your name again? She says, Mo. I'm like, Mo, we've been texting. Okay, yeah. I just totally, if it was a dog's name, I can recall that. But if it's a person's name, it just one ear out the other.
Okay. I don't know if I'm quite that bad. I'm pretty bad, but we get the double dip of people. Like, people will talk to us or come up to me like, hey, Felix, or hey, Conrad. I'm like, have I played on a card with you, or do you recognize us from any of the content that we've put out? Like, I don't know
anymore
which one it is. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, hey, how's it going? All right. It's all fun though. We appreciate it. And obviously, if you have seen any of our content, come up and say hi and just be like, hey, we check out the channel. We watch this or that. We love that stuff because it keeps us motivated to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah. I love it when someone walks up and like, hey, I got this disc because of your review. I was like,
yes.
Really? That's
we had that one guy was I think Scott Radke that talked about it on the Upshot about watching the one disc, one tip segment on Smashbox, and that it led him to get a Maverick after the one that Rebecca Cox did for us. I was like, that's so cool. So I reached out to him. I ended up sending him another disc. I think it was an Escape. I ended up sending him, but that's so cool how like connected. Like, hey, this guy was on one podcast talking about something that he saw on another podcast that we had sent to that podcast. So it feels like we really are just interconnected and interwoven in the media game. All right,
I don't have anything else.
That's it for me, man. It is just about 10:30 local. This wasn't too bad. We're less than 2 hours.
Wow, that's good for us.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But we have to be true to this because, like, most of the times it'll be like an hour 15 in and we're trying to end the show, and we don't end the show for another 30 minutes.
No, we're good.
Yeah, so this time I think we need to just exit on the sweet note, the high note, exit like when we say we're like now. Just be like Terry and just say, push the button.
Right. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. And like always,
let's run it.
Push the button.